Once upon a time, in the great underused and highly original heteronormative traditions of ye olden days of unwokithness, there was once a prince who wanted to marry a princess. Don't they all? Well, realistically, he doesn't want to marry the princess per se. There's more of a basic, sort of clubby drag back to the cave to get it on Neanderthal thing happening here. They should make a musical about that. They could call it Neanderthal ! The musical. Anyways, for the comfort of you, my dear listener, and public decency, this is only episode 1 after all, and we should at least wait a couple more episodes before mentioning felching. Let's just say he wanted to marry her. But she must be a real princess, mind you. None of this hot mess reality TV princess nonsense of duck pouting, sharpie-browed, wailing too many letter A's in a single word. You gotta have a good job and buy me things. Fake princess. No, she can fake right off. So, in a remarkable feat of unrealistic geographic, temporal and transportation logistics for that era, he travelled all round the world, which was still flat apparently, seeking such a one. But everywhere something was in the way. Not that there was any lack of princesses, but he could not seem to make out whether they were real princesses or charlatans. There was always something not quite satisfactory. Therefore, in a feat of self-absorption that rivals your typical American episodic dramedy series, home he came again, quite out of spirits, for he wished so much to marry a real princess. One evening, a Saturday evening as it happens, a terrible storm came on. It thundered and lightened, and the rain came pouring down. Indeed, it was quite dreadful, rather like the current output of Netflix. In the midst of all this brouhaha, there came a knock at the old town gate, and the old queen went out to open it. Her Majesty, Queen Gudrun, who was drying out her gussets over an open flame, did offer to go. But the old queen hadn't minced down the cobbles for a while and needed the exercise. And so he went instead. Homosexuals were so willing as comedy value in those days. Now, get ready to gasp, foreshadowing here. It was a princess who stood outside. Princess? She was bladdered, completely wrecked. For flip's sake, what do you expect on a Saturday night in the old town district? And why on earth would you open your door in the pouring rain in the middle of the night? But oh dear, what a state she was in from the rain of all that naughty tempest. The water dropped from her hair and clothes. It ran in at the tips of her shoes and out at the heels. She was positively dripping, drooling and moist. If she was a confection, she would be a cluster fudge. Yet she insisted with all the fervour of an American actress that she was telling the truth. She was a real princess. "Very well, me old Palone," said the old queen. "You get your lallies up those stairs to see Her Majesty, and she'll tell you where to go. Oh, missus." So the princess oozed up a winding staircase to where she was met by Her Majesty, Queen Gudrun, and her dried-out gusset. was a little dubious, the Queen and probably the gusset, but thought it might be rather amusing to try a little experiment, even if, at that time in history, experiments were viewed as heresy and could probably result in getting more than one's gusset torched. Queen Gudrun insisted nothing, with the exception of the princess, went into the bedchamber. The wily monarch took off all the bedding, then removed a pea from within the folds of her dress. It had often been speculated as to why the Queen carried a pea around with her. It was only several years later when it all came out that queens from all over the world are always gagging that sweet and slightly salty taste of fresh pea. Oh yes, from princess to queen and the occasional king, they cannot resist the pea-ness. Oh, how they gant for it. The Queen laid a pea on the sacking of the bedstead. Exactly what that so-called princess will be doing shortly, no doubt. Having done this, she took 20 mattresses and laid them upon the pea, and placed 20 eider-down quilts on top of the mattresses. The princess was then instructed to lay upon this bed all the night. Several moments later, in the morning, Queen Gudrun asked the princess how she had slept. "Oh, most miserably," she said. "I scarcely closed my eyes and the whole night through. I cannot think what there could have been in that bed. I lay upon something so hard and bulbous that I'm quite black and blue all over. It's dreadful." Nothing, of course, to do with it being a Saturday night on the tiles, knees, back, basically on anything hard that caught your fancy. It was now quite clear that she was a real princess, since through 20 mattresses and 20 eider-down quilts, she had felt the pea. None but a real princess could have such delicate feeling when resting atop such a prime example of pea-ness, or such a bladderful as to pee through 20 mattresses. So the prince took the princess for his wife, as he knew that, in her, he had found a true and genuine princess. And to hell with personality, compatibility, shared attraction, or indeed mutual consent. No, she couldn't sleep for a night, and suddenly she's a princess. Now, if that was how the world worked today, my bladder would have ensured my insertion into the annals of royalty years ago. The pea was preserved in the cabinet of curiosities, along with those 20 mattresses and 20 eider-down quilts, where it is still to be seen this day, unless someone has stolen it or it's gone off. Now, there's supposed to be a lesson that serves as an analogue for some public speaking pitfall here. It's something along the lines of the pitfalls of stereotyping people as a form of humour. Knowing how your audience will respond to certain types of humour. Making puerile jokes that means you'll have to do a complete re-record later on when there is a terrible tragedy and the joke becomes offensive. The importance of bladder control whilst your camera is filming for a Zoom meeting. I'm buggered if I know what it is, so they all had a happy ending. Please like, subscribe, and if you want to know more, discover how to captivate, entertain, and immerse your audience through digital media with Ges Ray at speakerperformance.online. Ges Ray's Happy Endings was created by Ges Ray and Martin Pentecost. Presented by Ges Ray, copyright 2022, an Empower Publishing production.